Now for the specific life situations that happened to me that I want to share with you to give you firm examples of how everything in our external environment is reflecting what's going on inside us. So I went to Glastonbury, UK last week, and the first day I was there, I slid down the stairs. I was in my sock feet, and there was carpet on the steps. The stairs inside the home. They were pretty steep, but I just slid down. Boop, 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 boop. I just slid, and I was laying down, just laying flat on the stairs. I didn't get hurt. My body knew how to fall. Apparently, completely no harm done. But that told me that I was not grounded. And it had to remind me because whenever I fly in a plane, I become ungrounded. And it's super, I don't want to be ungrounded because the way it manifests in me is I'm scatterbrained, I can't concentrate, kind of hysterical. Like when I laugh, I kind of sound like it's an hysterical laugh, and other things like that. I can tell if I'm paying attention. But when I get off that plane, I am just so flighty and, yeah, on cloud nine and not able to think straight. So that was an example, the first example of, how external experiences are reflecting what's going on inside of us. The next thing is that first day, the host of the bed and breakfast I was staying at asked me she needed to give me a front door key, and she said, "What's your lucky number? 1, 4, or 8?" And I picked 4. 4 is my lucky number. That's what I told her. So the next morning, just hold on to that thought. The next morning, I woke up with a tooth infection. And I want to add what I thought that was about. But so the host, she was just an angel. She navigated me through everything, helped me find a dentist. And it was the 4th dentist that we went to that was able to make me an appointment that week to look further into my tooth infection. And we were high-fiving and everything. She said, "Yeah, you said your lucky number was 4." I said, "I know, isn't that wild?" So, I mean, every little thing, it could be big things, it could be little things. So they made me an appointment for the next day and on Tuesday. And I went in and he took an x-ray and I had confirmed to him. I knew I had a tooth infection, but he needed confirmation of his own. And so he gave me the option and I said, "I just want you to take it out. Just pull it. I do not want to take that tooth back with me to America." Because it was a root canal and yeah, I've been planning on getting rid of it. But so he took it out and there it is missing. But the thing that happened with that external experience was actually what I call alchemy. I was alchemizing old trauma that I had healed around being emotionally traumatized as a child. My mother did it to me, her mother did it to her, and her mother did it to her, right on up to my greats, grandmas. And this tooth extraction, emergency tooth extraction, was a manifestation of me alchemizing that ancestral, generational tendency to cause trauma, mother-daughter. And I had healed it. I waited until I was 40 years old to have a child because I wanted to be a better communicator. I did not want to create a daughter or raise a daughter who believed that she needed to take care of my feelings or be a people pleaser. I mean, I knew I was doing all these things before I ever had her. So I wanted to heal as much as I could. And I knew I wasn't completely healed. by 40, but I knew my biological clock was ticking, so I had to go ahead and have her. And I still made plenty of mistakes, and we had some healing in our relationship to do. And we literally started that at her age 13. I sat down and I talked to her and I started talking to her, and I say, Sarah, there are things that I've done. I've made mistakes, and I would be specific so she could know what I was talking about. So we have started healing that relationship, but that's what that tooth extraction was about. The ancestral emotional trauma, just passing it down generation to generation. And I broke the chain. I was determined from a very early age in my 20s that I was going to do that. And that was the symbol for me. Everything is happening for us to show us what's going on. Either it's a reinforcement of something that we've healed, right? A synchronicity. We become aligned and we start seeing and having synchronicities in our life that are that's proof or confirmations that we have healed this, we have healed that. And that's what synchronicities are. It's just something else in our external environment that is reflecting what's inside of us. Let's see. So, and then the third day, I decided that I wanted to walk a couple miles into town because I needed to know how to get to the Abbey. We were going to visit the Abbey in Glastonbury, which is a famous ruins location, very holy. And so somebody had told me in the group how far it was. It took 20, 25 minutes to get there. Exactly, you just go down here a mile, and then you turn left and go down a mile, and you'll be able to see this landmark over here. So I already knew how long it took, how to get there. But the old me, the Tina that needs to be very specific and controlling everything so I don't miss a beat, blah, 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 had to go the day before to test it. So I did that. That's what I always do. Well, the next day after that, when I was wearing my ceremonial long floor length goddess blue gown for the final ceremony, I tripped over the dress. I was barefoot inside, and the floor was hard. I don't know how it happened, but somehow I broke my right middle toe. Tripping, I didn't fall down, but I tripped and jammed the toe. I don't know, and the whole entire toe was blue and swollen. And so I have this book that it's by Louise Hay, and it's called How to Heal Your Life. Okay, and in the book there's like a chart, pages filled with a chart, and it tells you what the thought pattern that you have that creates pain or ailments in certain parts of your body. And for the toe, it was about my thought pattern was too worried about too many details of the future. And that's exactly what I had done the day before. This episode with breaking my toe, it was there to tell me that 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 I did not need to walk up there. I was focusing on too much detail, because the point is our soul, our higher self wants us to know that it's got us. We already know everything we need to know, and we will be given whatever that is when we need it. Nobody, you don't, I don't need to figure anything out. We don't need to, go look anything up or whatever. Everything will be given to us if we just wait. Now, maybe in times it'll be something like it'll be given to us that we need to look in this particular spot for some information in this particular book on this particular page. But it comes to us naturally. I don't have to walk so far 2 different times just to go make one trip. You see what I'm saying? Okay, so that was showing me that. I believe, and I have had lots of synchronicities and things happen in my life, that have completely convinced me that this is the way it works. And then the big part was there was a particular person that was going to be at the event as well, the same event I was going to. 2 days before I left for the trip to go to the event, she started connecting with me on Telegram, the group Telegram that we had set up. And it was standing out to me, and it was obvious that she was going to be a catalyst for that she would bring forth challenges for me that tested my boundaries. And sure enough, that is how it played out. The first thing that happened was on the last day. It was in the afternoon, and I was getting dressed in my black gown and everything to go back up to the event for the afternoon part. And somebody knocked on the door, and it was her. And she wanted me to run upstairs and get her a cup of coffee. And the um, event leader had been very adamant about us not being late at this point for the ceremony. And so I'm like, no, I can't do that. She wanted me to go upstairs and get her a cup of coffee. Where I was staying at the same place as the event. It was like a bed and breakfast. And they gave us continental breakfast every morning. And you could just go right upstairs in the morning and make a cup of coffee. Number one, I was told that the rest of the day it was kind of off limits, just for breakfast. We could go up there. Our guests could go up there. So I told her, I didn't tell her that part, but I told the person asking for the coffee that I still needed to go brush my teeth and I was going to go do that. It was too close and I didn't want to be late for the event. Well, so I passed that test, that boundary test. I passed it. Yeah, I did good. Basically, I said no without saying no. I try to be kind about it still um, because that test is there for me. So that went well. But then it wasn't over because they're going to keep bringing the test. They're going to get bigger and bigger until you are 100% solidified in that boundary. Okay. So after the event, after the ceremony, later on that evening, we were in the hot tub and we got out and I went to my room, which was right there where everything is going on. And I took a shower. As soon as I got out of the shower, there was a knock on the door and it was her again. And she wanted to rinse off from the chlorine from the hot tub in my shower. Well, in the first moment, I felt a big no. I don't want to do that. One thing, I was dripping wet. I just gotten out of the shower. I was holding a towel in front of me as I looked out the door, opened the door, and my first feeling was, no, I don't want to do that. But I ignored it, just like I had been training myself to not do not ignore how I'm feeling. In that moment, I put pressure on myself, even though there was another bathroom with a shower in it just down the hallway. I said, okay. And I let her in and she took a shower. And then she even said a couple things about, after she got out of the shower, we were just having a quick conversation on her way out. And just something she said, two things that didn't sit right with me, but like, for example, the second thing she said, I laughed at it. And I didn't really think it was funny. I knew that I was doing something that was right for me, but she was kind of like judging it. But I laughed. I laughed it off, and I don't want to do that anymore. So that was a lesson learned. Okay, so she left. She went out to dinner with somebody after her shower, after she got rinsed off. And I mean, she wasn't an unkind person. That was just her nature. She pushes, She's a rule breaker. She pushes the limits. She's a free spirit. And so I knew early on that she was going to be testing my boundaries. Well, that night when I went to bed, there was a slow drip. It sounded like there was a slow drip in the wall, my bedroom, and there's a radiator. And every time I woke up during the night, I could hear this drip, just a slow drip, 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 like that. So when I got up in the morning, it was still going. So I thought, well, when I get a chance, I'm going to tell the host about it. And at some point, the host said something that helped me turn on the light bulb in my head. And I went, and the drip wasn't there anymore. By the time I told her about it, it didn't exist. And that's when I realized that's what it was. I realized that that drip was there to show me. And it just came to me like the light bulb turned on. I was leaking my energy when I told the other person that yes, they could come into my room and take a shower. Because I knew my first feeling was that I did not want to do that. I was naked, holding a towel in front of me, dripping wet, and it was just a one little room, space, and the shower was right there. And I didn't want to do it at first, but I ignored how I felt. And so this drip was showing me how I was giving my power away. I was leaking my energy. Every time we say yes when we want to say no, we are leaking and giving our power away. And that's what that drip was doing. It was showing me this. Okay, so I think that's awesome. I think that's all that I have. So now, as far as examples, for true life examples, and we're going to move into the energy healing now.